Today, the Supreme Court will begin hearing the first arguments in what is known as the Masterpiece Cake case. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what this is, let me give you a summary here. Back in 2012, David Mullins and Charlie Craig, who are in that graphic over there on the right, visited Masterpiece Cakeshop to order a cake for their upcoming wedding reception. So they're in Colorado. They're like, hey, let's get a cake. Let's do the reception. We got married in Massachusetts, but now we're going to come down to Colorado, where we lived, to actually go and have our reception. And if we're going to have a reception, we're going to need a wedding cake. So they go to this cake shop, and they said, okay, yeah, we would like a cake for our wedding. Now, bakery owner and anti-gay bigot, Jack Phillips, that's, of course, my words, informed them that the bakery would not sell wedding cakes to same-sex couples. He, of course, is on the left on that graphic, dutifully designing his anti-gay cakes. Now, according to the ACLU, Dave and Charlie decided to file a complaint with the Colorado Civil Rights Division, contending that the bakery violated Colorado's Anti-Discrimination Act. So they had a law in place that says, hey, look, I don't care about your religious beliefs. I want to make sure that people are not discriminated against based on their race, religion, sex, orientation, all that stuff. Okay? So they pass this law, and this cake baker says, hey, you know what? I still don't want to bake cakes for gay people. I don't think that I should have to. And so, of course, they took it to court. Now, following an investigation and hearings, the Colorado Civil Rights Commission determined that the bakery had illegally discriminated against Dave and Charlie when it refused them service. And on August 13th, 2015, the Colorado Court of Appeals unanimously affirmed the commission's order, finding that the bakery discriminated because of sexual orientation in violation of state law. The court also concluded the application of Colorado's Anti-Discrimination Act did not infringe upon the bakery's freedom of speech or free exercise of religion. Of course, that was the argument that they were using. Well, this is against my free speech. This is against my freedom of religion. My religion says hate gay people and deny them any possible service and treat them as if they're second-class people, second-class citizens. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to deny them this service. Again, this is more about cakes. Now, conservatives are like, oh, it's just the cake, just go find another cake, all that stuff. Well, I'll get to that argument later. But it's far more than about cakes. It's actually about discrimination. It's actually about treating people as if they're human beings. But anyway, they continue. Now, the Supreme Court, the Colorado Supreme Court, so they took it from the appeals court to the Colorado Supreme Court, and they didn't even want to hear it. They had denied review. However, they decided to bring it all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. So that's where we're at now. So today, they're starting to hear arguments. Now, Phillips is not going with the, it's my religious freedom, my religious liberty to be able to go and discriminate against gay people. He's actually using a completely different approach. He says that his cakes are considered art, and therefore, because it's art, he doesn't have to make it for certain people, in this case, for gay people. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, to me, of course, that sounds like a bullshit excuse to try to not sell somebody something because they're gay. Now, it's clear discrimination in my mind, okay? However, Phillips, he argues that, no, you don't understand. I bake these cakes to honor God. So wait, your almighty God, you honor by baking confections. I'm sorry. Am I discriminating against your belief? It appears that I am, because I believe that is bullshit. Seriously? God, I present to you this beautiful 7-layer tart. No! Again, this is the most ridiculous reason. It is clear discrimination in my mind. Now, the question is like, okay, say you actually believe that you are honoring God with a cake, right? The thing is, why would somebody who wants to honor God go into the baking business and actually create a public business, which is what this is, right? So you actually believe that you're honoring God with a cake. Why enter into business in the first place? So you can make money, right? Generally, when somebody opens a business, it's because they want to make money. Now, I guess in his mind, if he's honoring God and then makes a few bucks on the side, well, then that all goes to what he's trying to do, right? That all goes to a good thing. In this case, no. Not a good thing when you're discriminating against customers. See, generally, conservatives are so stupid that they will go and discriminate against paying customers. They're actively taking that money and saying, no, get your stupid gay, your stinking gay money out of my face. That's stupid. If you're a business owner, you want to make money. You want to make money. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But really, look, again, his argument, it's not art, it's not honoring God, it's not free speech, okay? Your free speech ends when the discrimination of other people begins, okay? Now, obviously, today, they're not going to make a ruling. They're just started hearing arguments in this case, and actually it could take months, maybe even years, to make a decision. Now, right now, of course, one of the justices, or a lot of the justices actually, are divided between the more liberal and conservative ones on what to do on this issue. Now, Phillips' argument about art prompted the more liberal justices to wonder if any other place that has any sort of artistic pieces to it, components to it, could also discriminate. People, you know, who run hair salons, people who are tailors, you know, restaurants even. Cooking could be considered an art. Architecture firms, florists, well, we've already heard about the florists, jewelers, or basically any kind of artisan, whether or not they could refuse service based on the fact that it's art, and they use that art to honor God. Now, conservatives looked at whether or not artists were required to convey a message on which they disagree. Here's the thing, right? Maybe it's just me, but I've never looked at what's written on a cake and thought, that must be the complete endorsement of the baker. Happy birthday, Jim. That must mean that the baker really, really wants Jim to have a happy birthday. Well, what if Jim's a dick? What if you don't like Jim? What if a lot of people don't like Jim? Well, then that's going to look bad on the baker, right? No, that's the most ridiculous argument I've ever seen. Nobody looks at what's written on a cake as an endorsement of that person or that lifestyle. It's just decoration on a cake. That's all it is. And look, here's the other thing. I'm going to make a ridiculous comparison here. Is McDonald's endorsing people who have eating disorders by selling them a cheeseburger? No! No, of course they're just selling them a product. They're doing a good or a service. That's it. Now, earlier I mentioned, okay, the conservative argument here is, look, man, it's his free speech. He can do whatever he wants. He can believe whatever he wants. Just go and go get something else, right? Go somewhere else for your cake. Well, number one, why should they have to go somewhere else? Maybe they actually want a cake from that place because they heard it's fucking awesome. And the other thing is maybe it's not right to refuse service to people who are gay. And if you're if you're a conservative, think about this, right? Now, if you're in Alabama and maybe none of these cake shops around will want to serve gay people. They all think, no, we're not going to endorse that lifestyle. We don't believe in that, so we're not going to bake a cake for you. Okay, well that sucks because maybe nobody in Alabama will bake them a cake now because they have the ability to do so. But it can go beyond cakes. It could go to apartment buildings, grocery stores, or any of the other things the court is actually arguing. Hair salons, tailors, restaurants, architecture firms, etc., right? That refuse you service based on your sexual orientation. There is a significant part of the economy that if you're gay, if this ruling is allowed to go through, if they ruled in favor of Phillips, that would shut gay people out of that part of the economy. That's ridiculous. Are we going to allow a significant section of the American economy to go and shut gay people out of. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Look, here's the thing, right? Discrimination in any form should not be tolerated. I mean, look, that's my view of this, and I think I hope that that's the view of most regular Americans. Like, just let them, like, buy a fucking cake. Just make a goddamn cake. It's not like saying, it's not like they're asking them to be like, to bake a cake that says, I love sodomy, or I love cocks. No, it's just like, hey, there's this, you know, we're just baking this cake, we're designing this cake for a couple that happens to be gay and getting married. It's so simple. For me, it's a clear case of discrimination. However, in the land of Trump, who knows how the justices are going to rule? Even Justice Kennedy, who's a swing vote, is having a hard time trying to argue. I mean, he's trying to look at both sides of this issue, and who knows where he's going to fall on this. Obviously, the conservative justices are like, no, freedom of speech. You can do whatever you want. He can discriminate against gay people because, hey, it turns out I hate gay people too. And the liberal justices are going, generally, no, we don't like discrimination. So, again, we're going to see where the swing justice falls on this. So, it's going to be very interesting to see that ruling come down. And if it does take years, what the composition of the Supreme Court actually will end up being. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.